Hey everyone, this is Scott at Scott Trades on Twitter with a tutorial of TradingView. I had a handful of requests for a tutorial about TradingView. It's a trading platform that I've been using for well over 10 years. And now I just want to show you how I use it. I'll take you through my process on how I set up my charts, how I use TradingView, and some very cool things that you can do with this platform. Now, for those of you who don't know, I had previously been using TC2000. This is the trading platform that Dan had been using. And so when I came on board with Stock Market Mentor, I switched everything over to TC2000. TC2000 is great. There's a lot to like about TC. But I wanted a platform that I could trade stocks and crypto on at the same time and not switch between different applications. And that's one of the major benefits of TradingView is the amount of markets that you can trade. And you can see them if you click up here at markets. You can see that this has access to every major trading country in the world, every major indice in the world, every major stock in the world, crypto, futures, forex, bonds, and much more. Now, we'll get into some of these things like the economy, the ETFs, etc. shortly, but I just want to make it clear that this is one of the major powerful things about this platform is that you can basically trade anything. Anything that is chartable, a lot of times you can actually find it right here on TradingView. So as you can see, this is an overview of just a demonstration of the chart. You can click on trade, and if you have interactive brokers, for example, you can actually hook up your interactive broker platform to TradingView and trade directly through the application. We'll quickly go over screening. I don't do too much screening on TradingView. I typically will use something like Market Surge from Investors Business Daily, but they do have a pretty powerful trading or screening tool on TradingView. You can look at the fundamentals of each company, dig into what the companies are doing. There's a great community of people trading and sharing their ideas, and there is a chat platform as well, though that's not really something that I get into too deeply. So let's log into TradingView and we'll go from there. So here we are at the market summary page. I'm logged in. You can see the S for Scott over here. And if I click on this button, this gives me access to my profile, my account. If someone joins TradingView because I sent them a link, sometimes they'll give you a little credit. You can flip between dark theme and light theme, change your language, etc. So that's all through your settings here on your user profile. On the further right-hand side, we have access to watch lists. And if I was to click on any of these, I could actually open this into a chart just by clicking right here. So if I want to look at XLE, I click on XLE. This is in a watch list that I've already made. And then I can click on super charts and it'll open up into a chart right away. And it'll open up in its own window. And so I can actually still go back to this section here and still look into different things. Like maybe I'm going through my watch list deciding what charts I want to look at today. Maybe I don't want to look at IWM. IWM's down. Maybe I want to look at SPY. So click on SPY. That'll open up into a different window. And you can see every time I click on a new super chart, it opens up into a separate window. And that's how most people will navigate TradingView if they're logging in and using it through their Google Chrome browser. They'll just have multiple tabs for each chart that they want to keep open on that day. Here's one from NVIDIA, and again, once again, it opens up into its own window. And then I can just cycle through like this, only looking at the charts that are important to me at that time. Now, of course, you can always switch back and forth to different charts here in your watch list, but if you want to have a handful of just a few charts open, you can collapse the watch list here, and then I just have the indices or stocks that I want to look at right here, right now. So that's an easy way to get into super charts via just the main section here of TradingView without actually getting into any charts. Then we have our alert section. You can see I have a ton of alerts. I'm always setting alerts. And the great thing about alerts is that if you have the mobile app as well, download the mobile app by going to More, Downloads, Mobile App. If you have this application and you set an alert on a chart here, it'll actually ding on your phone as well as ding here on the platform. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can still get your stock alerts thanks to TradingView and their mobile app. And I definitely recommend their mobile app. I use it all the time. It's nice because I don't have to be near the computer. I can just be out shopping, waiting in line, and then maybe I'm checking the price of Bitcoin or the S&P or whatever it might be. So the mobile app is definitely something I recommend. You can also download the desktop app. Now this looks different than TradingView because it doesn't give you as much access to some of the news area. We'll get into the news and the market section here shortly. But the desktop app is also very powerful in its own right. And you can see how I just have it here. And it's without the Google-ness. I don't have Google Chrome there. And if I want to open a new tab, I can do this on the app. And again, get access to some of the different features within the application. So I like the desktop app. I've been using it most of this year, and it's been really helpful. But if you don't want to download that, you don't have to. You can just run everything here from Google Chrome. Then further down here, this is ideas that I've shared. I don't have too many. And then there's a chat function. This is an idea stream of just anyone and their dog submitting an idea through TradingView, and you can see it come up here. I don't have any of that. It's just noise, in my opinion. Then down here at the bottom, this kind of radar look, this is access to the screener. And we won't go too deep into screening here, but what you can do is essentially screen different markets, whatever market you want to screen, the S&P 500, and what's 100 and above, and what's up 30%. Nothing's up 30%. Anything up 10% today? No. Anything up 5% today? Here we go. And so we can find stocks that are moving during the day all within the app. And then if we want to open up something here, let's look at Blackstone, X this, and then boom, I'm into a super chart. So it's really easy to do some scanning and not have to write down that ticker and then type it in. You can actually just click on it. It'll take you to the stock page or the info page, and then you can look down and see if this is something you're interested in, and then open it up on a chart, and you're good to go. So that's a really powerful feature here, the screener. Not something I look at all the time. I'm not screening all the time. A lot of times I'll have a pre-made watch list that I'm working off of or using through the forum at Stock Market Mentor, or a lot of times I will do screening through Market Surge and Investors Business Daily or the IBD 50 or something like that. But again, if you are just looking for what's up on the day, what's down on the day, etc., I think that this can be very helpful. Okay, let's get into the main page. This is the market summary page here. You can see that we have access to all the major indices, doesn't matter what it is, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, the Nikkei, the FTSE, the DAX, etc., the Nifty 50, the Hang Seng, any major index that you want to look at, what's happening across the ocean, I can see what's happening. And again, I can just click on Super Chart. It'll open it up right into a chart that I can annotate if I want to. Down here, we have community ideas. Again, these are just submitted by anyone on the platform. Some people end up doing a lot of good ideas, and then they will build up a reputation and get followers and stuff like that. That's never really something that I've done a lot of. I think I did it when I first started with TradingView, just to try it out a bit as I was trying out different strategies, but it's not something that I do a lot. Then we have indicators and strategies. So these are different ways to trade, different indicators and strategies that people submit to the website. Some of them, as you can see, are picked by the editors as something that you might want to try out. Different ways to look at charts. You can also just click on popular and see different chart platforms. So you're able to really change up a strategy if you want, or try something new if you're looking to evolve as a trader. I personally find it's easier to just create a strategy and become a master of that. But if you're someone that likes to try different things, then you can look at what some people have done, what some people have set up, and see if those indicators or strategies work out for you. Then here on the page, we have a bunch of top news. So this is just a news headline. They get news from different sources, whether it's Dow Jones, Reuters. Then we have U.S. stocks. Again, more trading ideas that people are sharing. It's a bit like a trading platform and community at the same time, though, again, it's not something I follow. I don't know who any of these people are. I don't follow them at all. I have no history. They could just be trying to pump their bags. And so, again, it's not something that I typically do, but it is available here on the platform. We can see trends in terms of what people are tweeting about, talking about. We have the highest volume stocks. So NVIDIA, obviously one of the biggest stocks in the world. Tons of volume here. We have the most volatile stocks of the day. Stock gainers, stock losers, more stock news, world stocks, more ideas from people. And then we can measure everything by their market cap. If we want to see what the biggest market cap companies are in the world, we can sort by market cap here and go down the list. And if we only want to trade large cap stocks, but we're not really sure what classifies as a large cap stock, we can go here and cycle through and be like, okay, these are the companies that I want to trade. These are the charts and sectors that I want to focus on. And then over here on the right-hand side, we can see an analyst rating, whether it's a buy, a strong buy, etc. And so this is, again, just another way to find stocks that you're looking for or find new stocks that you don't know about yet. World's largest employers, you can look at that if that's something you're interested in. Crypto, tons of crypto ideas. Here's the crypto market cap ranking. Click on this. I can see what the top market cap cryptos are in the world. I can go here and see the TVL. TVL, for those of you who aren't in crypto, that's total value locked. When you are in crypto, you can stake your assets. And if you're staking, then you are giving that chain value. And so you can look at the assets that have the most amount of value locked. So this one, Lido DAO, has 25 billion, Aave 22 billion, et cetera, down the line. So that's one metric that you can look at if you're interested in crypto. Crypto gainers, crypto losers, crypto news, tons of crypto news here. And then, of course, the other markets, futures, commodities, Forex, government bonds. So this is a massive page and a massive resource. It's not something that I look at every day, but again, it is something that I think is really valuable and that you can use if you are a member of TradingView. Finally, trading and brokers. So as I mentioned, if you have Interactive Brokers, you can actually connect your Interactive Brokers account with TradingView and do buys and sells through the application. So you don't have to have your broker open on one page and your chart open on another. You can do it all through TradingView. So that's something that I think is pretty interesting and powerful. It's not something that I do, but they do have a Canadian broker that I use. I use Questrade, and evidently you can use that here. So this is something, again, that I think is really cool because that's what some people want. Some people want to be able to trade and chart through the same application, but not every broker has world-class charts. Not every broker has the power that TradingView has behind it. So this, I think, is a pretty cool combination. Okay, let's click into Market Summary and just go a little deeper. One thing that I really like about Market Summary is if I scroll down here, we can get into the economy. Now, the economy, as we know, is something we're all following. It's what helps drive the market higher. So there are a lot of really interesting data points here that we can use to track different parts of the economy. So we can essentially be our own macro analyst just by looking at some of the data here. As you know, I like to post some of the important macroeconomic data through the Telegram channel and in the active trading room. And if you are looking for, okay, well, this is what GDP is now, but what was it a couple of years ago? Are we better off now than we were before? Let's look, and then we can see how the chart is looking. And so you can actually track a lot of this stuff right here on TradingView. And economic heat maps. Where are the hot economies? Which economy should we be invested in? Which sector should we look at, etc.? And then I really like the economic calendar. Now you can get down into the economic calendar down here as well on the right-hand side. And this is a very powerful tool because what it does is it tells you exactly what the data is. And you can see how they have a countdown. So this monthly budget statement for the federal government is coming out in 54 minutes. This is what people think it is. This is what it was before. And so again, if you are looking for some of that really, at least now, important macro data, you can get it here on TradingView. We had the ECB cut interest rates earlier today. And then we also had retail sales. And so we have what the retail sales actual is, what the month over month is, and then we have a chart where we can actually see it all laid out so it makes sense to us. So you're not just getting blasted with economic numbers, you're able to look at a chart that actually puts it all in context. And I think that that, again, is super powerful, especially as macroeconomics, geopolitics, etc., become a more important part of the market. So economic calendar is great. You can also find earnings. If you are in a company that might report earnings, which date is it? When does it happen? What are their estimates? You can see that all here on TradingView. Here's today, what's happening tomorrow, what's happening next week. I can flip to the week and pick the days, all the different earnings. This, again, is something that I think is really powerful here. Lots of options. If I just want to focus on North America, I can do that. So what are the North American earnings for Tuesday, October 22nd? Here we go. General Motors, Pulte Group, Philip Morris, etc. So we can see when they're reporting earnings, what their estimate is, and then when this comes down, what the actual is. So again, this is a great platform. If you are following earnings, you don't have to pay for another subscription through some other website. It can come all up here on TradingView on the platform that you're using already for charting. So that's really powerful. Also on all the super charts, they have the earnings listed. So here we are on NVIDIA, and you can see the green E here. That means green is good. Positive earnings. Doesn't mean the stock's going to go up, by the way, but it means here's what the surprise is, here's what the reported is, here's what the estimate is, here's what the date is. And so you can have these listed on your chart as well to make it really simple to say, when does NVIDIA report earnings again? Oh, I know. The purple E on the chart. There it is right there. So again, really powerful when it comes to just understanding as much as possible about the economy, earnings, and for those of you who like dividends, when a stock pays a dividend. So this calendar here on TradingView is super powerful. And I think it just works really well in conjunction with these economic indicators. So let's look at inflation. Inflation year over year, 2.4%. We can see it's been trending down. Unemployment rate, trending down. Interest rates, still high. Cut the rates, J-Pow! So you get the idea, but you can see all of that right here on TradingView within the economy feature. And you can get that really fast just by coming up here, clicking on markets, going to economy, and going to overview. So this, again, is just a feature that's part of TradingView. Doesn't even have to do with actual writing on charts or technical analysis or anything. So now that we have the overview, let's get into the charts. I'll just open up one of these tabs here, and we will start things off with just this normal chart here. This is just my normal layout of moving averages, price, volume, and then you can see I've added some trend lines. I can delete these drawings just to make it easier to look at here. But the overview is basically this. If I want to get back, let's say I close one of these windows by accident, and I want to get back to that market overview section, but I'm here on a chart, I don't have to open a new tab. What I can do is just go to my username here and click home. And if I click home, yeah, I'm not going to save anything. That's fine. It'll take me right back to that market overview section. So you can always get back to where you just were if you're playing around in this area just with a click of that username on the top, just right here. Now here, of course, we can play with the colors. We can turn on and off the drawings panel just to shrink that a little bit. Maybe we don't want to do any annotations. We can turn that off. We can learn about desktop shortcuts, etc. We can get the app and whatnot here. Then up here at the top, we have the symbol search. So if I want to type in any symbol, I don't actually have to go up here. I can just type on the keyboard. So if I want to look up AMD, I can just start typing and it'll open it up. Now here on the search function, what I really want to show you is on this right-hand side. This tells you what market you're in. Now, because this is a platform that can chart assets from all over the world, you really need to be sure on what chart you're looking at. You don't want to look at advanced micro devices on the German stock exchange, right? Like, not if you're in America, you don't. So you want to click on NASDAQ. And that crown here will give you a sense that this is the primary exchange that it trades on. This is the chart that you need to go to. So here we are back on AMD, and this is the exact chart that we want. And so what you can do is you can type it in here at the top, or just type on your keyboard and it'll come right up. And a lot of times, even if you just hit enter, it'll bring you to the top source of the chart that you're trying to look for. Then over here we have time frames. I have a handful of time frames selected that I look at. There's a drop-down box. You can choose your favorite time frame just by clicking a star. So I like to limit the time frames that I'm looking at just because it keeps me organized in my analysis. If I'm flipping between a 1 minute and a 4 hour and a 15 minute and a 45 and then a week and then a monthly, like if I'm all over the place, my trading's going to be all over the place. So I like to limit myself to certain time frames and just kind of live and die within those. You pick the ones that make the most sense to you. But once you star them, then they show up as favorites up here, and then you can just kind of flip around to whatever one you want. Over here, this gives us candlesticks. We can go to different candles, however we want to look at them. Hollow candles. We can choose volume candles. We can choose a line chart, an area, whatever you want. Different ways to look at the chart here. I always like candles. Here's our indicator panel. So this is where we can search for different moving averages or indicators that we want to put on a chart. So if I want a moving average on my chart, I can just type moving average. Do I want an exponential? Do I want a simple, etc.? Then I can just click that and it'll add it to my chart. And then I can see the drop down here of which one it is. So it always adds, if I'm adding an EMA, for example, it'll always add the 9. And then if I want to change that, I can go into settings. And then let's say I want not a 9. Let's say I want a 100 day for whatever reason. So 100 period moving average. Click OK, and then you can see it there. Now this is a real thin blue line, so maybe I want to change how that looks so I don't get confused. So then I can go in here and style. Maybe I want a purple line, and then maybe I want the thickness to be real thick for whatever reason. And then there it is. So that's how you put on a moving average to your chart. Indicators, search for what you want. They have tons of things. You can see how I have a handful here of an ANTS indicator, an anchored VWAP, etc. Whatever you want to put on here, you can do. Bollinger Bands. And then once you put it on, then you go over here and click the settings, and then you make it look exactly how you want it to. So I'm just going to delete that there. Now, that's not part of my normal outlook, but that's how you do it. Then over here, we have our indicator templates. So if you want to look at a chart that has just moving averages, what you'd want to do is save that as an indicator template. And I have that saved here. You can see here, Scott Trade's main layout, and that just brings us to this layout. But what's great is you can have multiple layouts and switch them really easily. So once you have your layout set, you save your indicator template, and then maybe you want to make another one. Maybe you want one with Bollinger Bands. Okay, well, here's another one with Bollinger Bands. This has an RSI. I have a handful of indicator templates. I don't use all of them. Some of them I made a long, long time ago, and I just keep on here because I think, oh, maybe I'll use it one day. And then what you do is you save that indicator template, and then when you star it as a favorite, it shows up here. So you can just flip back and forth to whatever one you want. Here's a moving average ribbon. I only have 3 saved as favorites, but sometimes if I'm looking for different indicators just to see what's up, then I'll have it saved as an indicator template. You can also easily set alerts here. You can create an alert right here on whatever price you want to do. So if I say I want to see when NVIDIA gets above 141, the default is to do it for a month or so, and then that's that. And then here's the message that'll come up, and if I create that there, then it's saved. It'll show up here on the platform if I have push notifications on, and it'll also show up on my phone. Then over here, we have an interesting button. It's the replay button, the bar replay button. Now, this is good for back testing if you want to see how things play out, to see how maybe one of your ideas played out. So if I click bar replay here, I can just select which bar. Maybe it's this one. So let's say I bought this day here, and I want to find out what happened next. So I've selected that bar, and then I click down here on play, and it'll just play out how everything went starting on the bar that I chose. And this is a way for you to tell the story of the stock. You can do it fast, you can do it slow, you can do it on short-term charts, intraday charts, etc. And so if you want to go through and relive how the morning went, then I'm going to click bar replay. I'm going to start from that bar, and then, okay, let's see how the morning went. Oh, we had a big gap up, and then we had an inside bar, and then we had a down bar, and you can see how this is just playing it out as the day went on within the time frame that I'm at. So this is, again, helpful for back testing or trying out different setups or entries and giving you a chance to relive a trade or relive a chart pattern as it happened so that you can learn from what you did and change for the next one or do it again and make money. So that replay button I think is really cool. Over here, this is a floating window that I have of just tools that I use on a frequent basis. We'll go through the tools here shortly. And then I have, you can see all time frames and this layout set up here. So what you can do with TradingView is you can have different layouts. You can actually have a handful of charts on one page at a time. You don't have to have everything in a different tab. If you want, you can have 6 different charts at the same time, and you can change all of these charts or keep them the same. You can modify this. So I have, let's say I have NVIDIA here, and then maybe I want Apple here, and then maybe I want Microsoft here. And then over here, maybe I want AMD, Google, and let's do MicroStrategy. So now I can zoom out and I can see multiple charts at the same time. So this is something that you can definitely do to ease your workflow and track different things at the same time. Now, you can clean this up, obviously. Move this up so it looks a little cleaner. Now, you can also do this in terms of time frame. So you could have an NVIDIA daily chart here, and then you could have an NVIDIA 10-minute chart here. And then here you can have NVIDIA hourly chart, and then other time frames as well. And then they just stay like that. You can right-click, click settings, modify the chart in any way you want. I can choose what I want to sync, if I want to sync the symbol. So if I just set up different time frames, so let's say this is a daily chart, 5-minute, 10-minute, then here, change this to NVIDIA, 30-minute, hourly, and then maybe I want a weekly here for whatever reason. Then what I can do here is I can lock it so the symbol always stays the same. I can keep the date range the same. I can keep the time frame the same. I can keep the crosshair the same, or I can make it different. And so there's settings within this to customize it. So maybe you don't want to see lines moving on this chart here when you're moving over here. Maybe that's distracting. You can turn that off. So now my crosshair is just over here, and I'm just crosshairing on this one. Or I'm just crosshairing on this one, just crosshairing on this one. And then if I turn that on again, oh, now I'm crosshairing on them all. So hopefully that makes sense. Lots of options that you can do within this multiple time frame thing. And then what you'd want to do after that is save it. You would want to save this as, I'm not going to save it here because that'll overwrite what I've done, but you could create a new one, make a new layout, multi-time frame, and do it all again. So in this one, I have an NVIDIA 10-minute, 30-minute, hourly, then at the bottom, daily, weekly, monthly. And then what I can do is once I have that saved, there we go. Now I can open up a new chart if I want. I want to make sure that I have the symbol locked, so it's just the same symbol all the time. But then now I have NVIDIA on a multi-time frame outlook. Then I have SPY, multi-time frame outlook, and it's saved right here, multi-time frame. So that's something, again, that if you want to look at multiple time frames of the same thing at the same time, absolutely, that's how you can do it. And it's super simple to set up. Now, one thing that I really want to get across as we're on this layout section is that anytime you make a change, this is going to want to save it. So if I do this weird thing where I'm now looking at 3 like this, if I click save, that'll save and overwrite what I've laid out as my main platform. So you have to be very careful with this save button. And the best way to do it is to always create a new layout and then mess around with it. So essentially, you just want to be very careful with your saving. If you do changes, it's easier just to create a new layout and then play around with it there. And once you have a handful of layouts saved, you can favorite them so they come up all the time. And you can see I have a handful here, line charts, dollar versus Bitcoin. And then that way I have these saved, and no matter what happens, I don't, I've made the mistake of overwriting them and having to recreate them again. So it's easier, I find, if you just have multiple layouts or multiple indicator templates. So it's easy to flip to exactly what you want to see and how you want the chart to look. Now, speaking of making the chart look like you want it to, let's right-click into the settings. So if I open up settings here, we can see we have a ton of options. Firstly, it's symbol. And so if we're using candlesticks, we can choose what color the candlesticks look like. Maybe we don't want green and red. Maybe we want blue and, I don't know, purple. So that looks terrible. Maybe we just want blue and red. Nope, no, now it's red and red. Oh man, I messed it up. There we go, blue and red. And then if I click OK, it'll save that. I don't want to save that. But you can play around with the different colors of the candles and make the chart look exactly like you want it to. Play with the color of the wicks. You can play with the color of the borders. Really customizable here. We can adjust everything for dividends. And we can choose the time zone. So I'm in Canada, so I use Toronto. But if you're in the United States, you'd want to use New York. It's the same. But you change the time zone so that you know exactly what time it is. When you click on this, this will tell you what time it was in New York when that happened. So it's all in line. Here's our status line. So status line is up here in the top left-hand corner of the chart. We have the logo. So if we were on NVIDIA, you can see we have the NVIDIA logo there. We can change the title. We can turn off the title. We don't have to have that there if we don't want it. We can see when the market's open by clicking on and off that green button there. We can turn on and off the chart values up here. So this is open, high, low, close, and then I also have volume attached. That's super helpful for me. If I'm looking to find out what the low of the day is, I just stick my cursor here, and then I look here, and it'll tell me exactly what the low of the day is. The value of the bar changes up here as well. Volume, like I said, I like having volume on. And then you can turn on last day change values. I don't have that on. Scales and lines. So this is the currency and what you're looking at. So you can find the currency. You can see how if I put my mouse over this bar on the right-hand side, the USD comes up. And that's helpful for me if I'm trading dual markets. If I'm trading something on the TSX, for example, the Toronto Stock Exchange, then I go over here and you can see it says Canadian dollars, CAD. So I have that on automatically where it'll tell me the currency, but only if I put my mouse over it. Not something that matters too much, if I'm being honest. Then we have price lines and labels. So we don't have any overlapping labels, and the labels are right here on the right-hand side. Now, what they are is color-based prices representing the location of price and the moving averages. And so the price right now is 24,688.12, and the 8-day exponential period moving average is at 24,403.85. So I can easily understand where everything is just by seeing the price labels here on the right-hand side. You can see we also have a timer that ticks down till the end of the trading day. So that's in scales and lines. So I have those going. I also have the plus button turned on. So the plus button is your opportunity to set alerts. So maybe you don't want a lot of lines on your charts. I like having the lines on my chart just because it's an easy visual. I can snap to it. I know exactly what it means. Support, support, support. But if you don't want the lines and you want alerts, what you can do is put your cursor over this area, press plus, and then you can add an alert. I can have an alert on an EMA. I can have a horizontal line drawn there, and then there we go. And I can do that all just from that plus button. So that's super handy. Then, like I said, I also like the countdown to bar close. Now, this is good for intraday charts as well. If I go into a 10-minute chart, you can see the timer here. So this is the timer counting down to when the 10-minute bar that I'm on, because I'm on a 10-minute time frame, to when that bar will close and the next one will start. And especially for cryptocurrency, I find this is really helpful because cryptocurrency trades 24 hours a day. So there's no close on the market. And you turn that on and off within this section. So I like having that countdown on. I find it super valuable. Then we have the time of day, day format, etc., and other settings that you can play around with. In terms of canvas, what do you want your background to look like? I know a lot of people have a solid black background. They love the dark colors. I just haven't been able to find a good, comfortable black color, so I just keep mine white. I'm in a dark basement anyway, so I don't mind the extra light. You can modify the color of your grid lines. What color do you want your grid lines to be? Maybe you want orange grid lines. Maybe you want dark grid lines, something like that. I'm not going to save that because I'll mess it all up. But you can play around with what color the grid lines are on the chart. You can play around with the color of the pane separators. So this volume indicator I have down here, this is actually a different pane that I can move up and down. And so I can modify the color of that line so it helps me visually separate price action from volume if I want to within the settings here. So I can make that red or purple or whatever I want it. That's actually kind of nice. Maybe I will save that one. We can have the watermark on here as well. That's the background that shows you what ticker you're trading. Now, if you're just a normal trader, maybe you don't want that on. For me, as someone that is presenting different charts to people every day, I like having this on because it's an easy click point for people so they can see right away, oh, he's looking at the SPY. Oh, he's looking at NVIDIA. You know, whatever it might be. It just says it right there so they don't have to squint their eyes and hopefully catch it in the top corner. So that's what the watermark is. And again, you can adjust how dark you want the watermark, how light you want the watermark, what color you want the watermark. You know, you can make it blue if you want and really, really make it pop. Oh, that's nice. Let's do green. Oh, wow. I am loving this flexibility. Look at this. Anyways, you get the idea. I like mine just light gray. I think it's fine. Other navigation options you can play with down here. Trading. If you are trading through this platform, this is where you would play around with those settings. I have the buy and sell button turned on. That's right here. Even though I'm not using this as a trading platform, what I like about it is the spread. If I type in a stock like MicroStrategy, I might want to know what the spread is between the bid and the ask, and it shows it right here. You don't have to have that turned on. Most people don't, but I like having it on. In terms of alerts, again, you can play around with what the alerts look like, what the events look like. Maybe you don't want earnings to be listed on your chart. Turn that off here. I also have key facts today turned on. That's a newer feature. I actually don't mind it because sometimes it'll give you an upgrade. If a stock has an upgrade, you can click on this and it'll tell you what's going on. So the key fact of the day for MicroStrategy is that they will release their Q3 earnings on October the 30th. Okay, cool. If I want more news, I can click there and it'll open up in this panel and I'll get a whole bunch of MicroStrategy news all fed to me within the chart platform. Okay, let's get into trading tools and then we'll do watch lists. So over here on the left-hand side, we can see all of the different tools that TradingView has for you to play with. And let me tell you, there are a ton. You can draw multiple different types of trend lines, channels, pitchforks, and just like with everything else, anything you favorite will show up in a separate little box here. So I don't know why this is here. Move that away. But I have all my favorites saved right here. And these are all just chosen from these panels. So if you want to do fibs, Fibonacci, okay, favorite it. And where did it show up? Right on the panel there. Here's some different things for Elliott wave, long position, management. So if I'm buying MicroStrategy today and I want to stop at the low of the day, okay, I'm risking 5%. I think it can come up to here, the previous high. So I'm risking 5% to make 15%. What's my risk-reward ratio? And so that's an easy way for you to lay out your trading ideas and see, does it make sense for me to buy here? Or am I risking way too much? And so that's a really cool tool that's just built in to TradingView. You can do the same with a short position. You can see the bar pattern. Sometimes if I'm talking about a chart, I'll say, oh, I'd like to see this go sideways for a bit. And then it just prints the bars there. And so that's this feature here. Dan will sometimes do envisioning lines where he will just do these little lines on the chart. And he will draw those lines out manually. He has much more patience than I do. I just do this, and I think that's better. So I like that aspect of it. I think that that's a cool tool. Anchored VWAP, which is super powerful. Price range, date range. I like those ones. Drawing, you can draw on this sucker. You can do whatever you want. You can highlight certain areas. I like that price action or whatever. Draw arrows. It's going to the moon. Arrow up, arrow down, rectangles, different shapes that you can draw, S-curves. You can annotate it. You can write on it. You can comment on it, put price labels, flag things. You can even add different pictures to this chart. Ben Affleck waiting for the breakout. You get the idea, but you can customize these charts and do so much with them. And I've never seen this type of flexibility on any other platform other than TradingView. You can even do emojis. You can add emojis to your charts if you want to. Hey, it's a Santa rally. Let's go. Well, I don't know why you would want to do this, but I also don't know why you wouldn't. So you can have a lot of fun with it. There's markers, rulers. If I just want to measure out, how long has this base been going sideways for? And what's the range of that base? Click the ruler button. It's an easy way to do it. You can zoom in and out. You can also zoom in and out just by using your scroll wheel. Scrolling up, scrolling down. And if you zoom out too much and it gets all messed up, to fix it, all you need to do is double click on this price bar and it'll even it right back out. So if I'm all balled up here and I got the price scale all weird and I don't know how to get back, I just double click on this price bar and it'll fix it right up for me. And that's really good, especially if you're cycling in through a bunch of different time frames, you're zooming around or just kind of moving it around, getting all squirrely with it, and you just want to get back to normal. Double click, easy peasy. You can also turn on a magnet tool. This is kind of cool. If I'm drawing a trend line, but I want to make sure it snaps to the top of the candles, I will click the magnet button and then I'll click the trend line. You can see it wants to find a candle to connect to. And so if you have trouble drawing straight lines or whatever, you can use that magnet button and it'll click to it and do it for you. So that's really cool. And you can choose between how strong you want the magnet. Weak magnet or super strong magnet. Play around with that. I think you'll have fun. Then if you want to get rid of some drawings, hit the trash can. Remove all 6 drawings. Okay. Gone. And now the chart's nice and clean. If I want to remove all the indicators, I can do that too. Now we're just looking at price. But Scott, how do I get it back? Click on your main layout indicator template. Boom, there it is. So that's one of the benefits of having your templates saved within this folder here. You can see I have a 15-minute volume profile. I have the 8 and 21 day and a price momentum oscillator, an AD line, whatever it is, and then I have them saved. So if I mess up the chart, I know how to easily get it back. So that's tools. Play around with that. I think you'll have fun. Okay, let's go over to watch lists, and then we'll wrap things up here. So over here on this panel on the right-hand side, we have watch lists. So on this watch list, you can see I have everything that I looked at for last night's strategy session for Stock Market Mentor. I also have some saved watch lists. I have a ton of watch lists, and if I click this drop-down menu, I can get to any of them. I can share this list with people. If you want a copy of my watch list, hey Scott, can I get a copy of last night's strategy session watch list? Sure. I can click share list, copy the link, give it to you, and then this will open up into your own TradingView platform. Now, if I want to import a watch list, it's really easy. Firstly, you have to just make sure that you have Notepad open. So if I want to take Dan's active trade list, for example, let me open up Stock Market Mentor. I'm here in the forum and I see Dan's active trade list. Here are all the tickers. So what I do is I open up a Notepad document and I just type in the tickers. So there's a handful of tickers. And you can also just type this in directly into TradingView. But if you want to download a copy of the IBD 50, you just got to make sure it's in a Notepad document. We'll save this Notepad document on my desktop as Dan's ATL. Then I'll go back into TradingView, and then I can just import this list, and there it is right there, Dan's ATL, and click open. And then boom, I have the watch list now here. So again, you may want to just do that manually by typing in tickers by pressing the plus button. if it's something that you're doing all the time. But if it's just a once a month list and you have like 250 tickers or something like that you're taking from IBD, then you'll want it on a notepad document so you don't have to type it all in. But essentially what I wanted to show you is just that to import tickers, you just got to make sure it's in a notepad document, click import, and then you can grab it and it'll bring it back in. So here's my list of watch lists. I have a handful of different watch lists that I follow. I got the IBD 50 from last month, some macro indicators, swing lists, true market leaders, etc. And those are all favorited. And so now I have them up here at the top, and I can look at my crypto top watch list. I can look at my swing trades that I think are good. I can look at what the futures are doing. Some true market leaders, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, etc. Here's a list of US ETFs. Here's a list of currencies. And then this is part of my process. So I cycle through this list on a daily basis and just get what I want when I want it. And it's super easy to find. Then if I want to share that watch list with someone, of course, as I mentioned, drop down, share the list, make a copy, rename it. You can add sections. You can see how I have different sections to my watch list here just to make it look all nice. So that's watch lists. Okay, let's go through the process of creating this chart layout that I have from scratch. So we'll just call it SMM TradingView, and we'll open it up in a new tab. And so when you open up a new chart platform, this is what it looks like. Pretty bare bones. So to add some moving averages, what we'll first have to do is click the indicator template, and we'll look up a handful of simple moving averages. So we want some simple moving averages. Simple. I think I want 2 of them. And then I want 2 exponentials. Click, click. So every time you click, you can see it adds to your chart here. So whatever you click, that means it's adding it. So don't click around to 100 different things because it'll add 100 different things, then you have to delete them. To get to the moving average menu, as I mentioned, you go over here to settings, and let's click on this first one. Click on settings. So this is going to be my 50-day moving average. It's a simple moving average, SMA. So I'm going to make my 50-day moving average red, and it's going to be 50. And I want it to be a little thick, just so I can easily see it. So there's that. Okay. Then we go down here. This one I want to be my 200-day moving average. This is going to be black. I want this one to be a little thick as well, just so I see it easily. 200. There it is down there. Now I have some EMAs. So I want one of them to be an 8-day, because I love the 8-day, as many of you know. I want it to be orange, and I want just a medium thickness. And yes. Now this one I want to be my 21-day. 21. We'll make it blue. Medium thickness, so it's easy to see. And done. And that's it. So now I have price, moving averages, and volume. Now, as you can see, the volume is at the bottom. It's added automatically. If I want to play around with the settings on the volume, I click the settings bar here, and I can choose what color I want the volume to be, whether it's green or red or whatever. And then I can also add a moving average to that volume. So if I want this to be a red 20-period moving average, click the color, go to inputs, and then you can change the period in which that moving average is on. So now I have volume, I have a moving average on my volume, and then it gives me a sense of what the volume is doing for that time period that I'm looking at. And then as I get into an intraday chart, you can see how the moving average changes and whatnot. So that's a basic overview on how to set up your charts so they kind of look like mine. The last thing I want to share with you is how to download charts. Now, if you are a member of Stock Market Mentor, we love when you post your ideas, but we also would love to see a chart so we understand what you're looking at. Now, to do that, what you have to do is click on this camera button. If you click on the camera button, that'll open a chart snapshot mini window, and you can download an image. Now, you can also just copy a link if you don't want to save a file to your computer, or if you are just trying to share a chart with a friend or whatever it might be. But download the image. That'll download directly to your computer, and then you can open that as a picture, and there it is. There's the chart with all of your different things that you have on it. So that's how to save charts, and that's a basic overview of how I use TradingView for my active investing. If you have any questions, we can go deeper. Please let me know. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.